Hi guys, welcome to YOGALATES with SJ. I'm SJ and today we have a 20-minute full body workout that you can do at home with no equipment. So we're going to start by just coming on to your mat. Toes are pointing forward and your feet are about hip width apart, rolling the shoulders away from the ears, releasing the shoulders down the back, just making sure that you have a neutral pelvis here so you are not tucking the tailbone under and you aren't putting the tailbone back. And we're just starting to come down into a little squat here. So sitting back into the heels and the hips go back, and then you're coming back up and pressing the palms to the back of the room. Inhale, lengthening the arms forward as you sit down into your squat. Exhale, pressing the palms back. Keeping this going, so just making sure that you're even through both sides of the feet. We are kind of really more hinging at the hips here, so you're sitting down into those heels, you're pressing back up to standing, really pressing the back of the arms towards the back as you start to really work through space here. We are finding some resistance through the ear, keeping the core engaged. You are not lifting the head up or down, so keeping that long line through the back of the neck and the rest of the back. And then I just want you to stay down this time, and then you are pressing back up to standing. Now just bringing the arms out into a T shape. Shoulders are down away from the ears. You're bringing the arms forward and then you're bringing them back to that T shape. Keeping the shoulders down and away from the ears, and then just starting to circle little circles forward. All of the movement here is coming from the shoulders, so not locking out the joints. And then we are starting to circle the arms backwards, just little circles here, really working into the shoulders and the top of the arms. Awesome job. Bringing the hands together in prayer, and you are sitting back into those heels, lifting the toes up slightly and pressing up to standing. And we are squatting down, coming down and pressing back up, making sure the knees are pointing straight ahead or are slightly turned out. We don't want to roll those knees inward, and we are just sitting back, keeping length into the spine, toes lifting up slightly, maybe wiggling through those toes to make sure that you're really sitting back into the heels here, working into the arms as well. So just, even though we're not holding weights here, really thinking about the muscles in the arms, pressing back, almost as though you're moving through a body of water here. Awesome. Staying down, and you are lengthening the arms forward. And we're going to start to stay in that little squat position, bringing one arm back and then lengthening back up and then coming forward again. Keeping this going, really sitting into the heels here, not locking into the knees as you straighten up and lengthen the arms up. Shoulders are relaxed down and away from the ears. The palms are facing inward and you are pulling back and pressing forward and then lengthening back up. Really drawing up from the pelvic floor all the way up to the top of the head, finding a little bit more length each time, making sure you've got a nice neutral pelvis here. So you've got that beautiful long line through the back. Your head is in line with the rest of the back. Beautiful. Staying up, just starting to bring the arms out and release the arms down. Then we're starting to just let the palms be forward, elbows are bent, and you're reaching the arms up overhead and dropping them down, and then twisting through the waist to one side and then coming back through center and switching to the other side. So you're dropping those elbows down to below the shoulders here, and then you are twisting just through the waist, so not moving the hips, keeping those hips square to the front of the mat here. You're lengthening up more each time. Awesome. Opening out, shoulders drop down, heart is open. We are warming up. You will be feeling this probably already. It's amazing what these kind of body weight exercises do without holding any kind of weight here. We are strengthening, toning, sculpting the entire body today. This is a full body workout. We are getting all the good things in just 20 minutes at home with no equipment. Amazing. Just bringing the arms forward and you're bringing the chin to chest. You're hooking the thumbs here and then you're bringing the hands back. Palms are facing down and then you're lengthening back up to standing, lengthening up and then bringing those arms forward, hooking the thumbs, and you are just bending through the elbows, bringing the hands in and out and back up and dropping the elbows down. Keeping this going, keeping your core engaged the whole time. Shoulders are away from the ears. You're rounding into the upper back here. Chin comes to chest as you bring the arms forward. Palms are facing down, not locking into those elbows. So softness into the elbows here. We are working through the whole upper body, through the arms, through the core, and keep it going. Beautiful work, you guys. Breathing, lengthening out, and elbows bend, coming in and coming back to standing. Staying here. You've got your palms facing forward, elbows are bent, and then we are starting to lengthen the left arm up and over, and then coming to the other side. So finding a little bit more length through the side each time that you come up and over. So rather than feeling you're bending in half here, thinking about keeping everything grounded down. So your feet are grounded down, you're even through the whole body, the lower body here, and you are coming up and over. So rather than sort of bending to one side, thinking about coming up and over, looking underneath the armpit, allowing the heart center to start to shine up towards the ceiling. Length, length, length. Shoulders are sliding down the back, keeping your core engaged and lengthening up. Inhale, exhale, release. Staying here, stacking one forearm on top of the other. You might hold on to opposite elbow and opposite hand if that feels good. And your feet are in that nice neutral here, toes pointing forward. Just bringing the chin to the chest as you start to round the spine and relax the shoulders. We're coming to a forward fold. Staying here, maybe a little bit of movement through the head and neck as you release the pelvis to the sky. Keeping a little soft micro bend into the knees, and you can have as much of a bend into those knees as you like. Letting all of the tummy muscles relax. You might release the arms now. Just letting the fingertips release down towards the mat, floating the arms, and maybe switching that cross here, taking opposite elbow with opposite hand, and just ragdoll, moving through the head and neck, shoulders relaxing. When you're ready, releasing and starting to roll up vertebra by vertebra as you come up to standing. We are starting to come down, bringing the forearms down onto the top of the legs, and you're bending through those knees. You've got length through the back here, and you are sitting down into the heels, slightly lifting the toes up. Then I want you to start to really find evenness through both sides of the body, but you're lengthening the left arm up and looking up, and then coming back through center, and then the right. Looking up, coming back through center. As you continue with this, just making sure each time that you are really keeping, even though you're moving from side to side, you're keeping your weight even through that center line. So you're trying to keep really, really even through both sides. You might come up a little bit higher, opening out even more towards the ceiling, finding a little bit more mobility, more flexibility as we move through, keeping the core engaged here and a neutral pelvis. So not tucking that tailbone and not sticking the tailbone out. The length is all the way from the back of the neck all the way down out that tailbone, sitting into the heels, and release, coming down, forward fold. Let's come all the way down to a seat. You've got the soles of the feet onto the mat, and just taking a moment here to lengthen up into the spine. You can hold on to the back of the knees here, and you can have your feet either together or you can have them about hip width apart. Having a nice big round into the spine, C-shape the spine, and engaging the core as you very slowly roll down to come to your back. Then we're starting to bring the arms up overhead, spreading wide through the fingers, finding length all the way. And then you're starting to allow the arms to come all the way directly out from the heart. You're rolling up. We're starting to do some full roll-ups here. So rolling all the way up, engaging the core, and then slowly with control, rolling the spine all the way back down again. If it feels a little bit too much here to have the hands away from the legs and this is feeling a little bit too intense, you can hold on to the back of the legs and just walk the hands down and back up. You can even stay quite high, so rather than coming all the way down onto your back, you might just hold on to the back of the legs and kind of just let yourself roll a little bit back by engaging the core and then sitting back up to lengthen the spine, sitting up tall again. If you really want to challenge yourself here, you might even just have the legs long on the mat, so not having a bend into the knees and doing your full roll up. I just want you to make sure that the whole time you have that core engagement, we are not bringing any tension into the low back, into the neck. It is the core doing the work the whole time. So you've got a neutral pelvis, keeping everything nice and neutral here, and shoulders are relaxed. You're lengthening up, staying up, guys, and taking a moment, just bringing the hands behind the knees, and you're starting to tuck the tailbone and starting to inhale as you sit back up, lengthening the spine. Exhale, chin comes to chest. Inhale, sitting up nice and tall, lifting up from that pelvic floor all the way to the top of the head, and then coming all the way back as you exhale. Keeping this going and then releasing. Awesome. Coming to bring the feet onto the mat, and if you're noticing here that you're feeling a lot of tension in your hip flexors, you can just lift the toes up and just kind of be back into those heels. And then we're just starting to lengthen back to about halfway here with that core engagement, and you're starting to lift one leg up and then the other. So keeping the core engaged, you're coming back to a halfway point here. You're reaching the arms forward. If you want to, you can have the hands down on the mat for a little bit of support, or you can hold on to the back of the legs here as you move through this. It doesn't need to be a really big lift up of the foot. It can be a very tiny one, or you can even stay with the feet down and just hold here in that halfway point. Breathing, guys, keeping the core engaged, trying to really keep that length into the spine. The back of the head is in the same line as the rest of the back here. Not bringing any tension into the hip flexors, using your core muscles. Awesome. If this feels good and you want to go a little bit further with this, you can start to come to a little tabletop with the legs. So staying with that long line, or you might like to straighten the legs out, coming to your boat position and reaching the arms forward and maybe lowering down and coming up. So as you lower down, starting to lengthen out, exhale, power it up. Inhale, lowering down, exhale, power it up. Bend those knees if you want to, guys, or keep them long and keep them lengthened out. We just want to make sure we are really using the core muscles here. You can still continue with just that one leg lift if you want to, working at your own pace, guys, and coming down. Well done. Releasing. We're coming over onto your left side. Just making sure that the hips are stacked and your shoulders are stacked. You've got your elbow in line with your shoulder here, and you are just taking a little moment here to find that core engagement. And we are going to just start to come up to a side plank on a half side plank here, lengthening the top arm up, and then you are bringing the elbow to that top knee. So bending that top knee as you bend the elbow of that extended arm, bringing it down and lengthening back up, staying really, really strong through the whole pelvis here, keeping everything nice and strong. You're lifting up out of that supporting shoulder, so not collapsing here, lengthening the leg, lengthening the arm, and squeeze it in, keeping this going, staying strong. And let's bring the arm all the way up overhead as you lengthen the leg out, and then you're bending the elbow and circling the arm all the way around and bringing knee to elbow. Keeping this going, finding a little bit more length from fingers all the way through the toes. You are really finding that core engagement here. This is challenging, but we are going to really get right into all of the muscles. So it's so worth it, you guys, and it's only 20 minutes. So stay strong, keep it going, dropping down onto your hips if you need to, onto that side hip. And let's take a moment here to come to just relax here. We're going to start to bend that bottom leg, and you can come down to have your head in your hands, or you can just be up on the forearm here if it feels better. We're just making a little pulse up and down with that top leg, or you can circle, making little circles in one direction. Just making sure the knee is pointing directly forward, so you've got your leg in a neutral. If you are circling, just starting to circle back the other way and really lifting up out of the side waist, keeping the whole lower body still. It's only sort of a circle through the hip, just tiny little circles here, and really getting into the glute muscles and the thigh. Awesome, let's take a break. So just maybe just letting that leg cross over and just taking a moment here to relax and to let go. Cool. And then from here, we're going to stay in that position. You're just going to make a little frog leg with that right leg. So you're just bringing the knee up as high as you can as you come onto your belly and on your forearms here. And you can just find a nice openness through that right side of the hip. Then we're going to start to just do little donkey kicks with the left foot. So you are just kind of letting the back of that heel come in towards the glute, feeling all of this in the back of that leg, in the hamstring, in that glute, bringing your mind to the muscle, just really squeezing in and releasing out, keeping everything else still and stable, lifting up out of those shoulders. You're not collapsing down. Awesome. Now just straightening the leg, and you're making little pulses up and down. Just tiny little pulses, lifting and lowering, really getting into that smile line underneath the glute. Keep it going. Little pulses up and down. You can do it, and release. Beautiful. Coming all the way over, and we're going to come to the other side. So you're coming to your right forearm, stacking the hips, stacking the shoulders, and taking a few moments here. You can be on the forearm if you like. We're just lifting up out of that forearm, and you're going to start to find that bend of the elbow in towards the knee. As you lengthen out, you're starting to bring the arm up at the same time. Really lifting up here through that side waist, not dropping down, and then let's circle that arm. So continuing with the same movement, we're starting to lengthen the arm up overhead, and then elbow comes to the knee. Keeping this going, seeing if you can stay lifted here. If it gets too much, you can always drop down onto that hip there and just come down and continue with it lower, but I challenge you to keep it going. Beautiful work coming down. Again, if you on the other side came down to place the head in the hand, you can do that. Otherwise, you might stay up high and be on the forearm. We're going to start to lift that top leg up. As you start to either just bring the leg up and down in little pulses, or starting to circle forward, doing those little baby circles, really working through the hips, the outer thigh, and if you are circling, starting to circle back, just those little baby circles. Awesome. Keeping everything else nice and still, keeping your core engaged, pelvis neutral, shoulders relaxed, breathing deeply and releasing, bringing the leg across, taking a moment to stretch it out. And then coming all the way over, tummy comes towards the mat, and you're making that little frog leg with that left leg now. So just bringing the knee up as high as you like, and we are starting to flex through that right foot, preparing to do our little donkey kicks. So then just starting with that donkey kick, you are kicking the heel toward the glute, keeping this going, making sure you're really bringing your mind to those muscles here, through the back of the leg, and getting right in there, lifting up out of the shoulders, pressing the shoulders down towards the mat as you lift up, keeping your core nicely engaged here. And straightening the leg. Let's find those little pulses up and down. Tiny little pulses. Keep it going. We are working. Coming towards the end of our workout, so really put in that extra effort here, knowing that you're nearly done. Keep it going, breathing in, breathing out, and release. Well done. Coming all the way to a seat and just holding on to the front of the shins or the front of the knees as you start to slowly roll yourself down to come to your back. You might take the front side of the shins or wrapping the hands around the knees and just starting to find a release here. Hugging it in as you release the tailbone down. Any movement here that feels good. Might be a little rock from side to side, maybe pedaling through the feet or wiggling the toes. Relaxing all of the tummy muscles. And you might just start to hug that right knee as you lengthen the left leg long. Drawing it in towards the shoulder as you find a little bit more stretch with each breath here. Taking a deep breath in as you feel the tummy muscles press towards the top of the leg, and exhale out. Just starting to slowly cross the knee sort of about halfway across the body. So it's just a little kind of move of that knee to the center line, and then you are bringing that back and then starting to just open out that hip. The knee comes out to the side and you can hold on to somewhere on the leg, finding a nice openness through the hips here, or the hip on that side. And then releasing, bringing the other leg in. So you're starting to squeeze using your arm strength. That left knee comes in, releasing the right leg long, finding those really deep breaths as you feel the tummy muscles pressing into the top of that leg. Then exhale, releasing the breath. Then starting to very slowly just allow the knee to fall over towards that center line, finding that little bit of a twist here, grounding that left hip in the back of the back through that left side down, breathing deeply in and breathing fully out. Then opening the hip out to the side as the knee opens out to the side, holding on to somewhere on the lower leg, maybe onto the foot or the ankle, as you allow that left knee to open out more and the hip to release even more. It's been awesome to have you join me today. You might just like to take a really big stretch up, biggest stretch that you've taken all day. And as you exhale, just bringing the arms down. Have the best day. Can't wait to see you again soon. Namaste.